Welcome to video lecture from RGPB. Communication Skills in English. Course code 6801, Module 2, Lecture 1. Topic of the lecture, Principles of Business Letters. I am Dr. C.S. Varde, lecturer, Government Polytechnic College, Jhabua. Today's lecture, course objective, apply principles of effective communication in business correspondence. The learning outcomes of this lecture. After completing this lecture, you will be able to write meaningful sentences using general purpose words and proper style in professional correspondence. Understand importance and purposes of business letter. Describe and identify characteristics of good business letters. Identify types of business letters. Identify parts and mechanics of business letters. The learning outcomes of this module. After the end of the module, the students will be able to draft application for job along with resume and CV. Draft letters of inquiry for making purchase. Draft order for supply of goods and services. Draft letters of complaints in different situations. Draft letters in response to complaint letters. Prerequisite of this lecture. Students should have the knowledge of basic grammar and punctuation. They should know how to form meaningful sentences. They should be aware of principles of effective communication. They should also know how to use subjective and objective styles of writing. Need and importance of business letters. Letters are powerful instruments for carrying out business transactions. Letters help to establish goodwill in business relationship without face-to-face contacts. Other communication media like phone, emails sort out daily problems, but the letters have long-lasting impression on reader's mind due to personal touch. Letters help us to learn the formalities of business world. We learn to arrange and present ideas, facts, emotions in systematic and wholesome manner. There are some functions of business letters. First, making inquiries. Second, placing supply of orders for goods and services. Making complaints about services, delay or mistakes. Then, redressing complaints and grievances. We have to do some correspondence with other firms, banks, insurance and aid agencies, and government departments. These are the functions of business letters. Now, what are the purposes of business letters? First, it helps to seek and give information which is essential for business transaction. We exchange information. Secondly, it provides an easy, cheap and convenient means of communication without personal meeting. We need not to meet a person personally, and still we can communicate with him with an easy, cheap and convenient method, and that is writing business letter. It keeps evidence of transaction entered into. Letters are proved to be helpful in providing evidence of transaction. It can be referred to any point of time. It can be referred to any point of time means whenever we want, we can refer it. Letters help to win goodwill, which is essential to promote business. Goodwill is essential for business and we can win it with the help of writing letters. Now, let us consider some good qualities of a letter. First, clarity. A good letter is written in grammatically correct language, and this language should be simple and direct. Avoiding wordy, figurative language or jugglery of words. Here are some examples. For example, we agree to your terms and conditions. This style is simple and direct and easy to understand. Whereas, if you write as far our question of our agreeing to your terms and conditions is concerned, we convey our positive response. Here, a lot of words have been used and it is wordy and difficult to understand. Correctness or accuracy. The facts that we include in our letter should be accurate and correct. For example, your machine is not working since a long time. This is wrong because you have not given the name of the machine. This is not accurate. Long time is also not accurate. So better say the TIG welding machine that you supplied to us has stopped working since last Monday. So this is how we can use accuracy. Some other characteristics of good letters. Completeness. A letter should be complete in itself and should give all the information that is required to understand the letter. And we should not leave anything for readers' guess. That we should not take it for granted that the reader knows all these things. For example, in place of saying supply one transformer to us, give detailed specification of the transformer, then last date for supply, address of place where goods are to be supplied. Apart from that, we can also give terms and conditions of installation, testing, training, after sale service, payments, reporting grievances, etc. Only then your letter will be complete, which is one of the good quality of a letter. Then courtesy, good manners. Good manners establish close relationship and goodwill that make the reader more receptive. What are the good manners? For example, if we are taking favor, we want favor of the reader, we should be very polite and thank him for his services. And if we have made some mistake, we should apologize for it. So apologize for mistakes. Some other characteristics of a good letter. Composition. Letter should be suitable in tone and style to the type of letter. So if you are writing inquiry letter, order, complaint, or answer to complaint, you should use proper tone and style, and that is the part of composition. Conciseness. It means brevity or to put one's ideas in minimum possible words. We should express facts and ideas in precise and concise words because time is valuable in business. So we should use brevity. Interest. We should keep the interest and expectations of the reader in our mind and hold it till end. So we should see that the reader is interested in and what are his expectations. So we should keep this in mind from beginning to the end. Promptness. In the world of business, prompt action and a reply make good impression on the reader. We should be very prompt in giving our services and answering the letters. As far as possible, a letter must be replied on the same day. So we should try to reply on the same day. That will be our promptness. Tact. We should tackle the things very carefully. A complaint or unfavorable situation should be tactfully and amicably handled without hurting the reader's emotions. We should not hurt the reader's emotions. Types of business letters. There are different types of business letters. For example, application for job. We should know how to write an application for job, and we should also know how to write a resume or CV. Then letters of inquiry. Before purchase or taking services of a supplier, we should make inquiry, and you should know how to write letters of inquiry. Answering inquiry. We should also know how to answer an inquiry later. Placing order. We should place the order properly so there is no dispute. Complaint letter. We must be very careful when we are writing a complaint letter. So this is one type of letter which is called complaint letter. Now, answering a complaint or grievance letter. When we are having a complaint or grievance letter, how to reply it. So these are the 6 types of business letters that we should know how to write. Parts of letter. There are 7 parts of a letter. For example, heading, that is known as Shirshak or writer's address, name and address. Inside address is the receiver's address, name, his organization, and complete address. Subject and reference, these are the parts of a letter. Then salutation, Sambodhan, main body, and then complimentary clause, Sadbhavnapurna Samapan. Then signature part. At the end of the letter, we should put our signature, but how to put the signature, that we should know. So these are the 7 parts of a letter, and we shall discuss them one by one. First, mechanics of heading. How to write heading. If you are writing a letter on a printed letter head, because on the printed letterhead, we have the name of firm, address, email ID, website already printed on the letter. Details can also be given in footnotes. So some details can also be printed on the footnotes. Secondly, we can write a letter on a plain paper. There we should write the heading in 4 lines. First line, that is name, and second line mentions the local address. The third line tells about the city and state and pin code. And date can be mentioned in the 4th line. So here is an example. First line giving the name, second line giving the local address, then the third line Bhopal, MP, and pin code. Date 30/12/2020. Now let us discuss the mechanics of inside address. Here the receiver's address is written. Inside address is receiver's address, and it is written on the left margin in 4 lines. Here is the left margin, and we write it in this way, not in a ladder style. So Mr. S.M. Srivastav, personal manager, is a post, position or title can be mentioned here in the second line. You can also mention the organization, name of the organization or firm, and its address here in the third line, and fourth line tells you about the city and state, etc. Now, subject and reference. Subject is a short sentence about the purpose and subject matter of the letter. So you should mention what is the purpose of your letter, and you should give an idea about the subject matter of your letter in this part. So at the first glance, he will get the idea what is there in your letter. And it is written below the inside address with a single tape away from the margin. It is written only single tape away from the margin under the inside address. Next comes reference that follows the subject referring the previous letters. You can refer your previous correspondence in it, or your previous meeting, or any advertisement. Now, this reference helps the reader to find the particular section that deals with it. So the reader gets the help that he will come to know which particular section deals with this subject, and he will refer to it, and it will help him to dispose it fast. Next is the salutation, that is Sambodhan. Salutation is a word used to address the person who you are writing it to. It depends on the degree of formality between the writer and the reader. So, if the relations of the writer and reader are remote or formal, then you should use, say, sir and madam. If you want to use dear sir, madam, you can use it because it is very natural. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Robert is mildly formal. Then my dear Mr. or Mrs. Shetty, when you write it, it is closely informal. So the informality comes in this salutation. If you want to address a group of persons, male, then you can write gentlemen. And if you are addressing to female group, then you should write ladies as a salutation. Now we come to the main body of the letter, how it is organized. First of all, beginning. First paragraph is a brief contact paragraph. It is the first time that we get in contact with the reader. So it is to establish friendly relations with the reader. So we should get friendly. Hence, it should always open with an appealing language. The language should be very appealing and pleasant. For example, we should appreciate if you, or we are glad to note, like this. The second purpose of the opening paragraph is to show the purpose of the letter or to give reference of previous letters. For example, we are glad to know that you are manufacturing high quality of lab equipments that we want to purchase for setting up our hydraulics lab. So this solves our purpose to establish good relations, as well as informing him about our purpose, that we want to purchase lab equipments that he is manufacturing and supplying. The next part of the letter and its main body is arrangement. We should arrange matter in positive way. Say yes first, and before saying no, justify it with adequate reasons. So if you want to say yes for a few things, say first yes, that we are providing this information, yes. And whenever you want to say or you want to disagree, so you should give adequate reasons, sufficient reasons for it why you are saying no. As well as if you have good news and bad news together, so give good news first, and before giving bad news, try to divert readers' attention towards cheerfulness of the situation. Then ending is also very important. So we should end the letter suggesting the specific action that we expect from the reader. Means we should suggest the action at the end so that he will keep it in mind that he has to do this. For example, we hope that you would supply high quality of goods and adhere to the last date, July 30, 2021. So here you are reminding him about the supply of material, high quality of material, and adherence to the last date. So then complementary clause, that is Sadbhavna Purna Samapana. We end the letter with complementary clause, leaving double space after the main body. Now this part is written just leaving two spaces, and then we write say yours faithfully or yours sincerely or yours very truly or very truly yours. Actually, it begins from left margin or from the center towards right side of the page. You can put it on the left margin, or you can begin it from the center towards right side. So any one of these four complements you can use. Signature part. So when you write on behalf of the organization on a printed letterhead, you have to write yours faithfully, then you have to put longhand signature, and then Rohit Khandelwal, and then proprietor of the organization or manager of the organization. You do not mention the name of the organization because it has already been mentioned in the letterhead, which is printed. But if you are writing it on a plain paper on behalf of the organization, you should write the complementary clause, then you should write the name of the organization first because it has not been mentioned in the beginning of the letter. So Global Manufacturing Company Private Limited, and then you put your signature, your name should be mentioned and your position in the organization. If you are writing a letter as an individual, how to put your signature? Under the complementary clause, you can put your sincerely and then signature and your name. It can also be mentioned on the right side. You have the choice. Then here is a sample of a printed letterhead. See, printed letterhead, here is the name of the firm. Then we write inside the address of the receiver here in 4 lines. Then we can write the subject, then reference, then salutation, then there is main body of the letter, then before the end we write the complementary clause, then we put the signature and the name and designation. Here is a sample of letter written on a plain paper. Here is the heading, means the writer's address. Here is the receiver's address in 4 lines. Then you are writing the subject, for example, inquiry about steel furniture for the showroom decoration. Then a reference is given, your advertisement in the Times of India dated this. Dear Mr. Green, it is the salutation. And this is the main body of the letter. Here we are again. We are pleased to note that your company is manufacturing high quality of steel furniture that we require for our new showroom. And in this way, you can write a letter and you can end it with complementary clause. So two spaces are left, then very truly your signature and the name. This is how you write a letter on a plain paper. So let us revise what we have learned. First, we learned the need and importance of business letters. We also learned about the functions and purposes of business letters, characteristics of good letters, then types of business letters, for example, inquiry letter, application for job, orders, and complaints, etc. Parts of letters like heading, inside address, subject, reference, and main body, salutation, complementary clause, and signature. These are the main parts of the letters, and mechanics of each parts of the letters. How to write each part of the letter, we have learned about it. So I hope you have learned about all these things well, and you can refer to this book, Business Correspondence and Report Writing by R.C. Sharma and K. Mohan, Tata McGraw Hill, New Delhi. So thanks for watching the video on principles of business correspondence. Thank you.